Good afternoon, everyone. How's it going? We've got about 5 hours before kickoff tonight in Seattle against the Saints, and I know everybody's gearing up for that one. But we got a little bit of news. I'm not going to call it breaking news. I'm not going to call it big news. I'm not going to call it shocking, but I didn't see this one coming, and I don't think very many people did. And it's interesting, and there are some notable ramifications around this, so let's take a little bit of time to talk about this before we gear up for the game tonight. So, Mike Garofalo reports on Twitter that the Seahawks are releasing offensive tackle Cedric Ogbuehi. The veteran started the season on IR and got lost in the shuffle in Seattle, should have some interest on the market from teams in need of OL help. So, Cedric Ogbuehi, who this was his second year in Seattle, and who was being talked up a little bit this offseason by the coaching staff, is now no longer a Seahawk. And I find this interesting for multiple reasons, none of which are necessarily huge, none of which necessarily are going to shape this season or this team or anything like that. But this move kind of makes me think of a few different things. So, Cedric Ogbuehi, for the record, didn't play that much this year. The only game he played actually was against the San Francisco 49ers. He played 48 snaps in that game and allowed one sack. However, PFF, for whatever it's worth, did think he played well. They gave him a grade of 68.6, which marks a very solid and very credible game on the part of Cedric O. So, this is kind of an odd move. Granted, Ogbuehi started the season injured, and he still seems like he's battling some injury issues. It is certainly possible that this move was motivated entirely by the fact that we just feel like he's never going to be healthy. But given the fact that the Seahawks are not getting great play from their offensive tackles right now, we all know what Dwayne Brown is doing. And Brandon Shell, he's pretty good, but he also gets injured a lot. And Jamarco Jones, I don't know if he should be playing tackle at all at this point. So it's kind of interesting that this team would opt to not keep Cedric around for at least a little while longer, because they've got players at his position who are either struggling or are injury concerns or just plain aren't good to begin with. So, what does this mean? It could just mean that Cedric Ogbuehi is just injured and that's all there is to it. But I find it interesting that we're choosing now to start to cut some fat from this roster. Usually you will see teams that expected to be good start to cut players after it becomes apparent that they're not going to be good, because they have veterans on their team that are going to be gone the next year anyway. They have guys who are making significant money who they can save a little bit of money on if they release. Maybe they have some players who want a chance to go to a team that's actually got a chance to win something that year. You will see teams start to do that when it becomes apparent that the season's falling apart. So, if this move is that, it's kind of interesting that the Seahawks are starting to wave the white flag at this point. With this game tonight still to play. And again, it could not be that. It could be that this team is simply just saying, okay, Cedric's never going to be healthy, and we're just going to go ahead and open up the roster spot because we want to activate Rashad Penny. We may as well get rid of a player who we think just is never going to be able to get on the field at this point. Entirely possible. But Cedric Ogbuehi was not a bad player. He was not a bad backup to have. He played okay in spots last year, and he played okay against the 49ers earlier this year too. So if you just look at it in terms of the ability of the player, this kind of feels like a team that is starting to wave the white flag on the season, letting a veteran go so he has a chance to go somewhere where he can actually maybe make a run at things. And if that's the case, that is an interesting concession from a team that is, granted, 2-4, probably about to be 2-5, and 5 games back in the division. But if that is what is going on here, I kind of appreciate the fact that the team is being real about where they are right now. Because here's the thing. Cedric Ogbuehi is not part of this team's future. He's already 29 years old. He already had proven to be a bit of a bust in Cincinnati, and he was just decent depth here. And I didn't hate having him around, but he definitely put some lowlights on tape. He did have some positive moments here, but he did put some lowlights on tape. And at the end of the day, you're not looking at Cedric Ogbuehi thinking that guy can be part of the next Seattle Seahawks team. And I'm talking about 2023 onward. Like, he's already 29. He's already not that good. He's already injury prone. His skills are only going to deteriorate from here. He's not going to be here next time the Seahawks are good, in all likelihood, almost certainly. So it seems like this is also a move to free up some potential playing time for some of the guys who have a chance to be that. Specifically, I'm talking about Jake Curhan, who did play a little bit this year against the Vikings, I believe it was, and to my eye, he was playing okay. PFF really didn't like what he did, I will grant you that, and maybe they saw something I didn't, but I thought he played okay and showed at least a little bit of promise. And of course, you also have the Stone Forsythe thing. Now, Forsythe is more of a left tackle, whereas Ogbuehi and Curhan are both more right tackles. But either way, this seems like a move designed to free up some playing time for those guys, because those are guys who could be part of the next Seahawks team. Because if you take a look at this offensive line right now, you've got two tackles who are very obviously not going to be here for the long haul. Dwayne Brown is 36, and his skills are deteriorating. Brandon Shell is decent, but he's in a contract year. He's already, I think he's 30. And even if he's 29 or whatever, he's not necessarily a guy you want to hitch your wagon to long term. So I think that it's pretty clear those guys are not going to be here. And in the interior of the offensive line, you've got some guys who have a real chance. Mostly Damian Lewis. And Gabe Jackson's probably going to be here for at least a little while longer just because of his contract, and he's playing fairly well. Kyle Fuller can go either way based off what happens the rest of this season. And yeah, that leaves an opening at the tackle spots. The future of the interior of the offensive line is actually not looking too poorly right now, but there is an opportunity for guys like Forsythe and Curhan to say, hey, I belong on this team for the long term. And releasing somebody like a Cedric Ogbuehi will free up potentially some playing time for those two guys. They might both get an opportunity to play a little bit at right tackle as this year goes on, because Shell, while he is a decent player, he does have a difficult time staying on the field sometimes. So that's kind of what I'm taking out of this. It's possible I'm reading too much into this. It's possible this is just, oh, he's not going to be healthy this year, and we just want to let him go get healthy on his own time. We don't want to spend the roster spot. Maybe all that is in play, but I am going to look at this from the perspective of this year is not going the way we wanted it to go, but there are some young guys on this team who need some playing time. Maybe we can get them that playing time now. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. We'll probably make another video when we get the inactive list, but this video, Cedric Ogbuehi is out, and I'm excited to see what some of the young guys can do. See you guys later. Go Hawks.